TV every time fire, and just keep it high in the rest of us, Almighty God, you know. Great man, live on, man. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, man. Pay prophet, Emmanuel the Seventh Adonia, Bob Marley, see me now. King, priest, and prophet, Marcus, Garfield, word come to pass. Don't forget about for a God, some great man. Prophet distinct to them, like I come to pass the pagan them. Baba TV, we coming from the grassroots. Babylon fill out the grass youth. Out of Iraq, take out to Ras Tube. We not go water down night die. Baba TV, from the grassroots. Babylon fill out the grass youth. Out of Iraq, take out to Ras Tube. Baba TV, the water down night die. Loot, just make the truth. They no teach you about Marcus and Farrakhan. Now Gandhi and the great man, Malcolm X. They no teach you about the mystery.
Peace, greetings, welcome to another edition of Baba TV. We just left Orchard Park and showed you the ranch house and so forth, and now we are at the home of Rick James' mother. Here, this is a beautiful home that he bought, 29 rooms that he bought for his mom, and Carmen need to give you the history. I can't give it to you.
He bought this house for her in about the 70s, the 70s or the early 80s, probably right behind Street Songs, or Street Tour, and because she moved, she had several apartments and condos that she moved in and out of, because my mother had that gypsy in her. She was used to that, but he was trying to get her a little more stable. So this is one of the places that he bought for her. Not sure about the price. There was only one other black family in this area at that time, and they owned a little gold shop. I don't know if they're still here or not. It was kind of hard to buy. Naturally, and I know it was over 400,000 or something. It was way over that. But anyway, he moved the office. He moved. She had the whole upper flat front, the front part upstairs on the tops. Me and my sister had our own rooms. So there was like three apartments upstairs. On the second floor, my brother Roy put his office. We prior to that, we'd been downtown in the Main Place Mall with one of Rick's lawyers, Irv Schumann, when we were in the penthouse, and that was a pretty large bill for that, and he was his lawyer at the time. But we left there once he bought this for our mother, because this was the biggest house that we had in town. We had other places too. I stayed right around the corner on Elmwood for many years. But anyway, she had the top floor, and we had 3 bedrooms up there. One was really almost a flat within itself, and me and my sister Camille had our rooms upstairs. On the second floor, we had Roy was there. He was a lawyer at that time, practicing lawyer, and still is, artist, well known in town. He was on the second floor, and my sister Cheryl and my sister Birdie stayed on the second floor. I think there was and there was an office on that floor also. And on your first floor, there was a huge living room, dining room area. The dining room area was quite large. It had its own pantry. There was a big safe down there on that floor, and the living room, and like I say, the office had moved to the basement, and there was pool tables, tennis, ping pong down there. Everything was down there, but the office was down there, and that saved a lot of money. So the business was transacted here for many years, and this was our in-city dwelling, or at least the one that was best known. There were several more that we had that were kind of spread out. In the back, there's a 6-car garage, and you entered that off of the Dullivan side, and there's street parking, but there was no driveways in the front. Really a nice area to live in. Like I said, we were the second black family to be here at that time, and we were here for many years. In fact, I believe when my when my mother passed, I think we still owned it. Roy sold it later, and he kept it for a while, and Cheryl stayed for a while. The rest of us pretty much moved out, and then he finally sold it to another lawyer, to a black lawyer. I believe his name was Jones. A large family, and that was it. This is one of our pride and joys. We had security here, housekeeping, the whole bit, the whole staff. So, you know, a lot of fond memories here, a lot of nice parties, a lot of gatherings here. In fact, when my mother passed, I think we had a little Passover here. So it's a very, very nice landmark for all of us. I don't know who's in here now. It's not a black family for sure, but the house looks almost the same. And like I said, I lived right around the corner on Elmwood. It's called the Village of Elmwood, and I stayed here for years after I came back from Detroit and started my life back here around my mother. Orange is in the car right now, and the brothers filming. We were kicking the Willy Bobo coming in and went over a lot of stuff, you know. Buffalo was our true home. I mean, we struggled here. He prospered here, and we in turn prospered quite well thanks to him. The whole family worked for him. My mother and my sister started off in the office, in the penthouse downtown, Main Place Mall they called it. Penthouse, Irv Schumann, and a company, one of the biggest lawyers in town, and he was my brother's lawyer. And my mother started her fashion show. She had a black fashion show, or a black fashion company. She started that there. He started the Funky Tees clothing thing there. Later moved out to Orchard Park. And like I said, my brother Roy used it for his office, for his law offices for a while. And we all worked in the entertainment industry for a long time. I did security. My baby brother Head, William Eugene Johnson, was the first security head that he had. I came out second, and then there was Aaron in between. There were many others, but the family was always heavily involved, and that's all 8 of us at one level or another. We all shared, and I did security for 15 years. My mother ran several companies and the office downtown with my sister Camille. Bertie was the first one. They all had their own staffs. It was very, very interesting. There have been other black entertainers. I don't worry about the white ones because they always did what they did. But there were other black entertainers that we patterned after, like the Troutman Brothers, the Gap Band, and a few others. Sister Sludge. There were.
Orange said that he did DMX. Talk about that.
Oh yeah, and Orange, who came in for the process and the do-rags, and Val Young. He was brought in especially for that job. He joined us, and he went on to be with a lot of huge entertainers. MX, yeah, DMX. Oh man, him and Big Jim Daniels out of New York. Mary Jane, but he worked for so many people, and he earned his bones way far and beyond when he first came in, and he's right from Buffalo. We call him Big Orange. His name is Greg. I won't tell his last name because everybody knows him as Big Red or Big Orange. He's one of my students, a black belt. We had Apples with us, black belt. We had oh man, I can't name all the black belts. We had a very strong security force. Aaron ran it at first. Aaron Dublin, a police officer, and there was a white officer, a detective, Bob T. But anyway, and we were all Buffalo based, and wherever we went, we always took the Buffalo name with us, and he was proud to be from Buffalo. In fact, he even had a tag on one of his albums. It was called "Below the Funk." Buffalo, where he talks about it. He never actually got his props here. He did a lot of charity work here. There was a market on Jefferson that he helped start. I lost the name. He gave to many things and peoples, and it wasn't. He didn't ever really publicize that. He just did it, and all of his bad stuff came out. Everything that he would do that wasn't correct, even though there was hundreds before him that did the same thing, you know. But it was always the bad part. It was always the bad boy stuff. You never heard about the good stuff. And believe me, he was a very good man. And I never asked him for anything that he didn't give me. Not only did I work for him for 15 years, but I loved him for all 50-something years that he was on the planet. He was one of my major brothers, maybe because I almost followed in my footsteps, which was not always good. And my baby brother William, loved him to death. He had my back and my front, and my brother Roy, and my sisters. So, you know, we were a very close family, even though we weren't all always raised side by side. And there were periods of separation that I was raised by my grandmother, spent time with her when my mother was trying to do her thing. But she always loved us, and whenever she could, she brought us back together again. And in the end, we were all together. So let me turn it back over to the brother. Thank you very much for listening to me. Much love and peace to you.
That was beautiful. And, you know, I mean, it shows that a lot of the family was very independent and entrepreneurial. Leroy's a lawyer, a world-renowned painter. Many of his paintings, shout out to Leroy Johnson, much respect to you, sir, has paintings all in museums in Europe and all over the place.
Yeah, they never actually knew poverty on that level, even though we always lived at a very low approach. We were just like any other black family, but in many ways we were not. She was a hustler, she was a worker, she was a survivor, and she made it a point to always climb as high as she could. She didn't excel where she wanted to be in the show business part. Maybe that's why she had so much faith in my brother, her son, Rick James, because she never lost sight of what he could be and probably would be, that she couldn't achieve that. But she was a black mother, and all praise to all those other black mothers who did the same thing. She raised a family of 8, and she did the best she could do with what she got. And she was a beautiful woman, and I love her to death. And we wouldn't be here except for her.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that's why I always start my interviews out with giving respect to Mrs. Gladden. May you rest in paradise, Queen Mother. And I'm not done yet. You know, everybody that knows Baba TV on his channels knows that I'm what they probably would say Rick James crazy. And you know, and I'm not done yet. You know, the universe has blessed me with Brother Carmen. Rick James has blessed me, and I'm not done. And you know, if it wasn't for, you know, the media largely and people skewing who he was and trying to reduce him to just a person on drugs and super freak, then, you know, we need to tell these stories today. Again, that documentary really shined light, and I hope that those who watch it will look at that and say, wow, I didn't know all of the stuff that he did other than what I heard. And it's a lot more. So this is almost like the Rick James Chronicles, the positive Rick James Chronicles. We're not going to be on here badgering. I see a lot of videos out on YouTube talking stuff about a man that I really don't think they know who they talking about. Why not come to the family and ask them rather than, you know, run your mouth like that? That's not very respectful. And that's all I wanted. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you, sir, very much for inviting me back to Buffalo. Yes, sir. Yeah, it's an honor, sir. It's an honor. And on that note, family, I just want to say peace. We out.